So tonight at the firehouse, I'm going to make homemade pepperoni pizza from scratch for 6 hungry firefighters. Now this is all the ingredients that you'll need to make dinner tonight, but if you want a detailed shopping list, check the video description down below. So let's start off by making the pizza dough. So take 1 cup of warm water, pour it into your 5-quart KitchenAid stand mixer, then follow that up with 2¼ teaspoons of this active dry yeast. Then you want to go in with 1 tablespoon of sugar and give that a quick little whisk and allow it to rest for about the next 5 minutes or until you have a nice thick foam layer on top. So that's what it's going to look like when it's ready to continue on with. So from here, grab your salt. You want to measure out 1½ teaspoons of normal salt. Then go in with 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. And lastly, you're going to want to put in 3 cups of King Arthur bread flour. Now, I like to use this King Arthur bread flour because it does not have any of the enriched chemicals that North America adds to all of their wheat products, because I do have an issue with digesting enriched wheat products. So that's kind of why I go with it. But any normal bread flour, even all-purpose flour, would work decent. So now snap on that dough hook attachment, lock the lid in place, and start incorporating all this stuff on a power level 1. Now you don't want to go too fast in the beginning because it will make a gigantic mess. So after roughly 6 to 8 minutes, you're going to have a nice softball sized bread dough. So take it out of the bowl off of that bread hook and begin folding it and working that dough just a little bit onto a clean sanitized corn milled surface. Now I don't like to overwork it. I just like to fold it in about 5 or 6 times just to make sure I don't have any dry spots in the dough. So then you want to take your dough mixture, set it into an oiled bowl, and toss it to the side. So once everything's got a chance to rise for roughly 2 hours or until it doubles in size, go ahead and toss down some more of that cornmeal mixture onto your surface. Give the bread ball a little punch so you can get all of that air out of there, and grab a knife. And what you want to do is you want to cut this bread ball in half. So one of these mixtures of using that 3 cups of bread flour that you just saw, that will make 2 12-inch pizza crust. So you just have to figure out at this point, how many pizzas are you trying to make for how many people? And I would just go off of that 3-cup recipe. So for us, I'm trying to make enough pizza for 5 guys, and I want to make sure everyone has at least 6 slices of pizza. So once I have it pulled out and cut in half, all I'm doing at this point is I'm just trying to form it up into smaller balls, because it is going to need to rest and rise for about another 45 minutes or so. So I'll take those balls and I'll put them onto a pre-greased baking sheet, and I'll do 6 just like I mentioned. So once I got them all laid down, get a little bit of saran wrap, and I'll make sure I cover all of these up to make sure that the edges of the bread doesn't really dry out while it's having its opportunity to rest. So now that those little pizza dough balls have had a chance to rest for about another 45 minutes, that puts us about 1 hour out from the time to eat. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start getting everything ready to start making these pizzas. So with my cheese, I like to use this whole block mozzarella cheese that I do shred by hand. And I wound up shredding about roughly 2 full pounds of this cheese for these 6 small individual pizzas. So that's the cheese I use. This is the marinara sauce that I like to use for the red sauce. And this is the pepperoni that we're going to put on the pizzas as well. So now we're about 30 minutes out from dinner time. So I cranked the oven up onto a convection bake wide open at 550 degrees. I'll remove the saran wrap from the pizza trays. Take one of the dough balls, I'll set it into a bowl of cornmeal flour. Get the flour on one side, flip it over, get it on the other. Sprinkle a little bit down on my work surface. And now I'm going to start kneading this dough out into 12-inch round pizzas. So I'll start by working the outside edges. And then once the outside edges are formed up, I'll then come into the middle. I'll smash the middle down. That's going to kind of get rid of those air bubbles. And then now all I'm going to do is just a little push-pull technique here. Now as I do this, I'm trying to take my time. I'm going slow. I'm making sure that I don't have any super thin spots, and anywhere where the pizza dough is thick, I make sure that I push-pull into that area until it's formed up about 8 inches or so. And then I'll pick it up by hand, and all I'm doing is I'm just tossing it back and forth, trying to be real gentle with my fingers so I don't rip anything or tear anything. And again, I'm attacking any of those thick spots to make sure everything is nice and even. So then onto that corn milled pizza pan, I'll lay this 12-inch pizza out. Now if you notice, it's kind of hanging over the edges right now, and I wouldn't worry about it at this point because the dough does have a little elasticity to it, so it is going to shrink back down just a little bit. So after just wiggling around just a little, you'll notice that it starts to slide back and form onto the inside of that pan, which will give you a perfect 12-inch round pizza. So then I come on with my red sauce. If I was measuring this out, it would be roughly about 1/3 of a cup. So just pour that out. I take my spoon, start to smear everything around. I'm wanting to make sure that I do have a little bit of crust for everyone to hold on to, which will give you a nice little crispy bite. So I pay close attention to not smear the sauce all the way to the very end. So once I have my little crust outline, I just keep smearing around the middle and make sure it just looks even to the eye. So now on with the cheese. I like to put roughly 3/4 of a cup of cheese on the pizza. Now I don't want to do too much cheese because this is not low moisture. It does have a little extra moisture, and if you put too much cheese, it'll cause your undercarriage of the pizza to be soggy. So now I'll just come on with that pepperoni. There's really no rhyme or reason to doing this. Just throw on the pepperoni and make it look however you want. And all we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to repeat this process. So I've sped everything up so you can kind of see how everything goes. But again, we're just duplicating the process. Toss it back and forth. Make sure I don't have any thick spots. Be careful not to make any thin spots. Don't blow through the pizza. Put it out onto that pizza pan. Smear around my red sauce. Come on with about 3/4 of a cup of cheese. Drop on some pepperoni or whatever topping that you want to use. And then into that 525-degree convection oven, I'll put 3 trays. Now you do want to be mindful that the very top rack is going to cook the hottest, so be ready to check that one first. So roughly 12 minutes later, open her back up, and just like I anticipated, that top pizza is going to be done before the rest, so we'll go ahead and pull that one out. Check the second. It's not quite there yet, so everything just gets rotated up to the next rack up. And now that the bottom rack is open and available, I'll take my next uncooked pizza, slide it down on the bottom, and that will pretty much be the rotation. Pull the top ones out, set them up on the top of the oven to start cooling down just a little bit, and then everything will get rotated up. So now once the pizzas have had a chance to cool for about a minute or two, then I like to cut into them. If you do cut the pizzas initially right off the bat, you'll notice that the cheese will melt all over the place. So don't be in a giant rush. Just give it just a minute or two to cool down. Then you can come in with your pizza cutter and make your 8 slices as even as possible. So there we go. Give the boys a call. Tell them it's time to come eat. And that right there, guys, is how you make homemade pepperoni pizza for 6 hungry firefighters.